And it's the news angle, bitch. Awkward angles for me today, but that's nothing for you to be fucking worried about. This is your boy D.
It's your girl CJ.
And I'm still upset that we can't shed like snakes, Brandy.
Why do you keep bringing that up?
Because you need to make it happen. You know every goddamn thing else. Why don't you
that would
that
suck.
out?
Like right before you shed, you would look crazy as fuck.
No, but you can get like FMLA or something to stay at home.
Not FMLA.
Shedding season.
My shedding season. Yeah, you need 3 days. And then I would want to shed in such a way where I could just have that perfect layer of skin where it still looks like the outline of me.
Ew.
What do you mean, ew?
She's like, I need to go home and malt.
Just empty.
Yeah. And then, like, could you imagine, like, if that took away, like, your psoriasis and your eczema and it just,
that would be cool.
It went away. Really cool, and then you'd be both. Fine. Right.
But
I'm dealing with it right now.
How often do you
I think
have to
it's
do it?
fair. Well, how often do snakes? You know that shit.
Do it like every few months? Or like
every
twice
few
a
months.
Year?
Yeah.
I feel like it would
I had
be
a snake and he did it. Well, I had a snake for a year and a half. He only did it once.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Your snake sounds like stupid.
It's when they
grow. He ran away from home.
So.
Oh, he ran away from home? That makes sense.
And then the neighbor killed him.
No, sad story.
Yeah, he got out and he went into the neighbor's yard. And he was like, ah! And then I was like, what was that? He was like, you never believe the size of the snake I just killed. I was like,
why did you have a pet snake?
I was 19. I was in college. It was right before.
Right. I'm like, what? That's like having a pet like tarantula or scorpion. Like, what the fuck?
What's wrong with that?
What's right with it?
They're cool.
They are cool. I like little snakes.
So y'all are cool with that, but I can't shed.
That's not the same thing, nigga.
That reaction to me shedding.
Who's disposing of your crusty ass?
You know what I'm saying?
I would sell it on eBay because bitches are selling their bath water. They selling their bath water and shit.
No, people are selling their bath water.
This girl, I don't know if she was an Asian girl or what, but she was selling her bath water and that shit was flying off the shelf.
Like,
and then Erykah Badu is selling candles that smell like a pussy. So you telling me my shedding skin?
Oh, she was selling some coochie juice or something.
You know why? Because what's her face started it? Was it Reese Witherspoon? No. Drew Barrymore?
Oh,
one of them white ladies.
The thing was she steamed her vagina?
No, but they have a candle that smells like her vagina. And so Erykah Badu changed the name and made it funnier. And she selling pussy candles too. So
yeah,
it works. I just want to roll up to her residence one day. She lives out here. Like
we call them vandals.
Vandals.
Vagina
candles. Vandals.
That'd be the best.
I hate everything that just happened. I just hate everything that just happened.
You know,
speaking of hate, apparently your Harry Potter girl hates trans people.
Oh yeah, so J.K. Rowling, right? What's her name? Is that it?
It's J.K. Rowling.
Oh no. Not Fred Durst. Like, we can't.
Oh, Brandon, didn't you have a whole cheerleading routine of that shit?
Oh, we did. What are you talking about? You know we did.
That shit.
Rolling.
Video was terrible. Oh
God, it was so awful. Yeah, enough about my cheerleading days.
So J.K. Rowling said basically it was saying that transgender people are not the gender that they're trans of. You're just saying transgender, like men are not men, and transgender women are not women. It's basically the whole gist of her conversation. So a lot of people who have worked with her or have been in movies that she had, she like the stories that she made have come out and said, the opposing situation. It's just that she's being dragged. The biggest thing for me is all the article or like little snapshot I read of all the trans kids and transgender people who have tattoos of Harry Potter things or, things like that. And they're like questioning life right now because one of their favorite things that, because for some people, Harry Potter or Fantastic Beasts is like everything.
Oh yeah, they love their.
To me, it's like it's like my DBZ, my Dragon Ball stuff. Like it is to them. So I understand.
She was saying.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead. Somebody go.
Ladies first.
Yes, there you go.
I'm a woman. Apparently.
I'm gonna put on my J.K. Rowling hat and say, no, you're not.
No, you're not, bitch. You're a person who menstruates. But this said last week, she posted a tweet mocking an article that made reference to people who menstruate, urging writers to use the term woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the statement that irked many fans who condemned the comments as transphobic. To which she responded on Twitter, if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth.
So what it is that she confused gender and sex. It's not the same thing. Because gender you can identify as. You can't with the sex. You know, do you see what I'm saying? I don't know if that made it
You know
clearer.
what's crazy about this, especially when it comes to me? Because I'm usually the most confused when it comes to this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm usually the only LGBT in the room, and I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's just that I wasn't taught the terminology. So I want to understand, I want to know. CJ, educate me on how that's different. Because to me, I'm like, I don't get it.
The gender situation. So sex, what she's saying is to have a child, you have to have two different sexes, a man and a woman, to copulate. I understand that part of it. But what she's not understanding is the mental situation of you being in the wrong body because of your hypothalamus or whatever have you, right? That means your brain gender is female while your physical body is a male sex.
Got you. Okay, so it's the mind. Got you. That makes perfect
Does that make sense?
It was just never explained to me that way.
So to me, I understand the outrage because even though I feel like some of the issues, and I might get like fucking slack for it too, but some of the issues I feel like really should be left for the original sex or gender people, because I think when you go too harshly and you overstep a certain type of line, it's like transgender women, like my friends have debated this with me too. They're like, well, how can they ever understand being a real woman? But it's so hard
because
you know what I mean?
Mind. It's
in the mind. But here's the thing. So for a lot of straight women who have that argument, it's because they don't have to go through menstruation. They won't ever know what pregnancy is like. That's what they're saying. But also my argument is
there are some women that don't have that.
Exactly. There's women who are not fertile, who cannot get pregnant. Some women do not have periods as well because of their body.
Does that make them any less a woman?
That part. And that's so hard. It's such a fine line.
That's rough because yes, they can't. But of course, if we took all those anomalies away where people, can't have kids and other stuff going on with them, to me, technically, you still are a woman just because you can't have a kid. Right. You know what I mean? But see, like I'm not putting that against them, but what I feel like is happening and why people are bucking against it, and I do feel like it's completely different things and what's going on with race, and I don't like when people jumble that shit together.
I agree with that.
I do. So
it's not the same as race.
Keeping on the topic of this sex,
Billy Porter.
Different. Listen, I'm not here for that shit. I'm not. You'll be mad at me every time. Some of the shit that I feel about it every time. Which side note? There's a difference between giving a different opinion respectfully and being disrespectful with your different opinion. And that's where people seem to have beef. I don't have to agree with none of this shit. And a lot of it I don't, especially with the trans, the this, the gay, the not. Listen, that's your business. I have nothing to do with it, but I don't have to like it or even respect it. In my head, you could still be very much a man, but I'm never going to come at you like that. Like you're Steve. You said you Stephanie. You Stephanie. Okay, I'm not going to come at you sideways about it, but what you're not going to do is force me to accept your reality. That's what I'm not going to do. I don't have to. That's what I can. I'm not going to respect it, but I feel that, and I have not.
So what you're saying is if somebody who's transgender came to you, who let's say is a transgender woman, and said, my name is Stephanie, you would call her Stephanie though, right?
Yeah, I do that even at the bar.
So see that I'm cool with. That. So I think the issue
I'm not going to go out of my way to say, oh, no, you're not this. Although playing devil's advocate for those same people that feel like, hey, you're disrespecting me. and dishonoring what I've been through or what I'm going through right now, because some people are still in the middle of a transitioning, by not calling me that. There are some people, and I am not saying it's right or wrong, I just saying I understand it, that stand on whatever they believe in spiritually and say, hey, I believe that God created you like this, and I feel like I'm disrespecting my deity that I believe in by acknowledging you by something that he didn't or she didn't make you as. People go about all, and that's why the whole, but I'm like, I don't feel like you need to be combative about it. You know what I mean?
It comes back down to respecting each other as a mutual human, because you can have those thoughts, right? But if somebody came to me and said, my name is not Steven anymore, it's Stephanie, I'm totally fine with it. And I think the problem lies in the other person not being able to call that person Stephanie, and they keep calling that person Steven. That's fucking disrespectful as fuck.
I think, okay, so I want to give us hypothetical situation. So when it comes to family, because I ran into this not necessarily when it comes to gender, it's when it came to religion. So there was someone who's, I'm not blood related to, but they were part of my family due to marriage and a bunch of crazy shit, but someone I've known my whole life. All of a sudden she switched religions, so now her name changed. She is now, a part of Islam, so her name, she took on an Islamic name. And sometimes I would forget and call her by the name I've known her whole life. And her husband took serious offense, so much offense, to where I guess my dad was like, no, I'm going to call her what her name is. This fool pulled a gun on my dad.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's not exactly the same thing, but it's
I understand where you're going. The extremism of either way is not good. So the other extreme was, I think I talked about it on another episode where my friend works, and it's a lot of LGBTQ people, but she is straight, but they choose to use the pronoun they, them for everyone, which is not fair to her because she identifies as she and her because she is straight. I cannot handle that either. So when you think about it,
rights are rights at the end of the day.
But here's the thing. So if you can understand that a straight person being called they, them is not okay, then you should be able to understand that a transgender person telling you that they are a different pronoun, and if you call them other than that, is not okay, should be the equal lane here. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and like you know what I'm saying, I think it should just be based off of, I don't have to respect how you're living or what you're doing or who you vote for or where you work or none of that, but I'm not going to disrespect you.
That part.
Like, especially to your face, have a separate conversation with your homegirl, homeboy in the car about it. Tweet about it later if you want, but just creating that discord and that disrespect amongst somebody else, like in front of their face, I just feel like it's very nasty acting. But I don't want anybody, as far as this whole sex debate and who's what, I don't feel like anybody should be pushing one thing or another on somebody. Although a lot of these concepts that we are now getting more and more used to hearing, a lot of them aren't new. If you do like more research and reading in different cultures and stuff, a lot of this stuff isn't new, but something I did not know, because I heard it when I was looking at somebody else's podcast and YouTube videos, is they're talking about the difference between gender and sex didn't arise until the late 1970s as far as the social construct. So this is very relatively like new terms. And I can understand why most people view maybe, or at least how I would say it, a woman is someone who is born with these parts, not so much, oh, she can have a baby, or oh, she can do this. You're born with these parts, so you're a woman, or you're born with these parts, so you're a man. And then people switch and do what they're doing from there.
I think the term is new, but it always existed is the problem, right? Because nobody actually, the term transgender is new, but like we were talking about last week, two-spirited has been ancient. It's been hundreds of, right? Yeah, so to me, this is not a new concept. It's just the terminology is new, and people have a hard time accepting new things like that.
Right, and then I almost want to ask people that go hard either way, and I'm talking about the extremists here. For the extremists in that community, that's the LGBTQ. I'm always messing up all the letters.
LGBTQ,
ABCD, you know. No disrespect to anybody listening. I just be messing up. QRSTUV. It's a lot. They're just adding in a plus and a smiley face, and I'm like, God.
I get it.
So the whole group, I'm kind of like, okay, what do you want and what do you need that is realistic. Now, when I say realistic, I mean something like, yeah, you should be able to marry who you want. I'll give you that. As far as like legal age and everything else, because I'm not going extreme with 14-year-old marrying a 45-year-old or whatever. Although that was going on forever, and it still is in some countries.
Right.
But enough about that.
Even here, actually.
It's a lot. So I'm talking about in the sense of like, what do you want that's realistic? Because I feel like, just keeping in construct of this group, you're wanting people to accept something, and you're wanting that acceptance so bad, you are coming across very pushy and shaming, and even doing straight shaming if they're not accepting. And that's not okay as far as from the extreme side. And then for everybody else that doesn't get it, it's not okay to disrespect and say, well, God doesn't like this, or people don't like that, or whatever, from somebody that's deciding to live that way. Again, you don't have to like it, but you also do not have to be that
I think
mean.
that goes along with being told that they can't be gay or be lesbian, or trying to be, you know, they get taken to church back in the day to have electric shock done, or anything in that nature. I think this is why the comparison between races happened, because I feel like a lot of those people in that community feel very oppressed, and they're tired of it, and that's why they're so much more louder. So I can understand where that is coming from. And so when you're not accepting of it, they are even more hurt than anything else about that part of their life as well. And like, it should not, I don't want to draw a comparison between race and that, because I don't think it's in an equal playing field, because the oppression part is like not the same thing. But I understand the concept of it, because it's very similar concept. So they're going to be louder. I think now that people are being heard, I mean, that's what it took for them to get marriage licenses the last couple of years. You know what I mean? If they kept if they kept going the way they were going, I don't think they would have been allowed to be married. But now this administration is backtracking on a lot of things, such as like healthcare packages for them and things like that. So I think they're even more upset.
I don't feel like those things are right. But then I was also looking sideways, although I'm happy that everybody was peaceful with it, at the Black Trans Lives Matter, because I'm like, that is important. But I felt like that it was encompassing.
Well, the problem
Black
is they chose this month to do the J.K. Rowling thing. It's Pride Month as well. That's why it's hitting so hard.
Other shit going on.
I know there's other shit going on. Obviously, we all feel
and
that
I will
way.
say that I speak for kind of like that Dave Chappelle-ish person that's kind of like, hey, you're cutting in line. We're still trying to get this shit right. So you guys are because to me, it's you guys still have like a struggle, but I feel like it's easier for people to get with this program and grant these rights and everything else, rather than really go to those deep racial wounds and really start undoing some things when it comes to
and because there's privilege associated within the LGBT community within itself.
I was just gonna say that. You just took it right out of my mouth.
No, there is, but they don't seem to acknowledge that.
Within that community, the whole racial thing is still like so harsh. You know what I mean? Think of, and I know we've mentioned this at some point before, think about all of the drag queens that have personas that are Black women.
They are. I've always said, I've said this, and I know it's not true across the board, so don't come for me.
Not everybody. I'm not talking like sharing needles and shit.
But I'm like, I felt like a lot of gay people were just Black women. I'm like, y'all, where else is this coming from? Where else is this?
They were talking blah, blah, like blah. Us. They were
all that
maneuvering.
Shit.
So
the makeup, the hair, everything is exaggerated things I have seen. In
the most recent one I went to, they singing that I don't want nobody.
Yes.
So I'm like,
what you know about that? Yeah. Like name 4 Jennifer Lewis movies. Go. Like, what do you really know? Do you even know the name of the woman who sung this shit with Brandy?
Did you remember Jennifer Lewis on Fresh Prince? Is what I want to know. When she was in the cabin.
Them episodes was always the best, especially when like all the sisters got together.
When they got together, yeah.
Oh my God, Will's mom. Those are the best episodes. The best. I felt like I was really a part of their little family. I'm like, this shit is good.
They were real. That's what it felt like. It felt like a real gathering.
Right.
I'm always, I think initially, and I don't speak for everybody, but just speaking for the people that maybe feel like this, I have to check myself personally because I'm immediately triggered when anyone from that community is like, hey, this isn't fair. Because I'm like, hold the fuck up. Especially when it's something outward, you should not have to change, right? Because if you want to wear your dress, if you want to wear your hair like that, or if you want to have your, I don't know what they call it for the women. But if you want to dress kind of like the brat does, I don't know what they would call that though. I just feel like that's just
more
how
masculine.
More masculine.
Yeah, masculine. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like a boy because boys are wearing dresses now, so it's rough. So I'm like, if you want to dress traditionally, what we looked at as masculine, that's something that you should be able to do without flashback. But the fact that you can do that as hiding it, we cannot hide this.
We can't hide this.
I can't hide this. And that's why I initially on the inside, I bucked, but then I calm myself down because I'm like, all right, you guys do deserve some of the stuff that you're talking about. And I feel that. But I'm also like, the fuck? I can't go in the closet with blackness.
It's hard because once you understand there, you know, like you said, Dave Chappelle's Get in Line shit, you think about all the people who are in the internment camps down south that are Hispanic. You think about all the Asian people who got punched in the face during the coronavirus, and all, you know, it's just a monumental amounts of things.
The natives that I think just now,
yes, they're
got like what were they by the water line? I'm trying to think of like that whole thing was happening. Like
the pipeline.
Yeah, the pipeline that was happening like 4 years ago.
And you
like
know,
that.
I mean, I still am gonna talk about. We'll have to do an indigenous episode one day so we could talk about the real shit. But as far as Native Americans and stuff considered, like indigenous people considered right now, they're still fighting for shit that's supposed to be their land.
Theirs anyway.
This is their stuff.
This is their shit.
Like,
and it's heartbreaking.
And they were also part of the slavery situation, and I think a lot of people forget that.
A lot of people forget that too. Yeah, definitely. And that's the only reason why we got scooped up is because they couldn't handle the fucking
so do you
plagues
know
and shit
that
were coming
only
from overseas.
Man, listen.
There's only like 30% of people who came from outside of the U.S. that wasn't indigenous, that were black, and that's why I'm saying we need a whole nother episode on that. But anyway, the bell rings, so we're gonna take a quick break and come back and do short bits of whatever else we need to talk about because we went in on this
all the way in.
Had to.
We'll be right back.
And we're back.
We back. Okay,
but we're not back with curry. That sounds amazing.
Sorry, we're gonna run through this. Or try to run through it. So real quick, crazy story. There is an 18-year-old Shanghai girl that went into a diabetic coma from drinking 2 boba teas a day for a month.
Why? Why is she doing that?
Well, because boba's like hot. Like we drink boba all the time. Well, not all the time.
I think what has happened with boba, because this is the first time I've heard crazy shit with boba. So I heard a lady going crazy inside of a boba shop because it wasn't sweet enough. And I think what happened is it gets so syruped the fuck up that people are like getting jacked on this shit. They're like, I need sugar. And it gets to the point where, that literally happens. And I think it's like it's an addiction.
It's really dangerous.
It's dangerous.
The place I go to is called Share Tea. You can actually pick the level of sugar and ice that you can do. So I go a little bit less usually, but like,
I went 85% sugar.
Oh my God, this girl, her blood sugar was 25 times higher than the regular level.
Holy fuck.
When because she like literally just fell into this coma, which is
her pancreas still good?
I don't know.
Does she have toes? What the fuck?
That pancreas.
Not that she have toes. Oh my God.
For real though, because it's scary. And like, on top of it, I just reminded myself of this a year ago, maybe not even that long ago. I read a story about a kid who had too much boba, wouldn't chew the boba pieces, the tapioca pieces.
Swallow them whole?
They swallowed them whole while drinking, so they had to get their stomach pumped because it didn't digest fast enough. Because they drink it every day, so they didn't. The tummy didn't have time.
There's crack in this? This don't make no sense.
It is. Well, sugar is crack.
Content. Sugar, it releases the same levels of dopamine. It's the same, that crack does.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
She
opens you don't consume that much sugar.
Her smashed mellow bag.
You eat your vegetables every day. That's what the fuck we're talking about. You have broccoli in your life.
Not broccoli in your life. I mean,
I have bok choy that I eat every day.
Bok choy.
Oh God, I love it so much.
Who has almost been suffocated by bok choy?
Oh my God.
Lost my
Listen,
life.
more than once. No, more than once. Oh my God. Inhaling.
If you eat
and then
all
that
of
sliver,
bok choy, like one bok choy,
yes,
itself,
and that sliver goes down.
And you gotta pull it up and it comes from your stomach.
And you're like,
and you're like,
and
your lungs.
Why aren't you guys cutting up your bok choy?
Hey, how about you shut the fuck up?
All right,
ideas.
CJ, you think
how about
you know
you shut up?
thing?
Oh, why don't you do something logical like cut it up into smaller pieces?
And I was hungry. Shit.
So basically,
chopped some bok choy. That shit went into my lungs. It touched my lungs, and I was like, ah.
I love that. I love that we both done that dumb shit more than once.
It slithers so easily down your fucking throat.
It really does, because that bowl part don't, but the rest,
that green, that leaf,
it go right back.
So y'all just cooking these bok choys full with the balls?
It tickled my kidney, and then I pulled it back up. I was like, oh my God.
I was so done.
And the fact that you can pull it all the way up.
All the way up, and it's still whole. It's still whole.
I don't even want to know what.
And then I love it so much. I love it so much, I just cut it back up and then like try to read.
I switched to Napa.
I mean, Napa's good too.
Chew it up. You
should be chewing the bok choy too, guys.
I did what CJ said, but actually I cut it in like force now. Because I used to just throw it all in the pan, and then I'd have my chopsticks, and I'm like,
because I don't want to risk
not
it.
16, bitch.
I'll put that shit in a NutriBullet before I eat it from it. Hell no.
No,
tired of that shit.
I think you know what it is. This
oh my God, 16s. I am weak.
I need y'all to like not eat it like that for real.
I was just shoving bok choy down my fucking
man. The fact that we eat it the same way, because I was like, no.
That's why they call me.
Okay, so question: how do you guys clean the leaves? Do you?
Oh, you have to pull it back a little bit, and you get the little gun from your singing.
Not the gun. I know what you're talking about too.
We all knew what he was talking about.
It's true.
Okay,
but it's funny. But I peel mine, and then I actually clean like each one.
I do that too, and then I chop it up because that's what normal people do. Chop it up.
Yeah, I chop it now.
Savage. Classy.
Anyway.
Ratchet. D just takes the bulb of the vegetable and just like
I just throw it in a pot. Bop.
I'm so done.
Bok choy.
Oh my God, we're gonna get so many complaints. No, for real though. Back to the fucking story.
Back to the story.
Oh my God. So what Dee was trying to say is the boba is like crack because of the sugar, because it's like the people who are addicted to Coke. Listen, not the powder. The drink.
Yeah, I was like,
Coca-Cola,
not the powder. Coca-Cola. So like I have an uncle that drinks Coca-Cola all day long, and my friend's mom won't drink water. She drinks cola mostly. I think she got her to drink a little bit more now, but
I'm like, who don't drink water?
Some people don't. Some people don't like the taste of water, so they don't drink it.
How do you not like?
They don't have a taste.
Water. No, different water has a taste.
Yeah, we know that part. What I'm saying is there's no like real flavor like peach.
Yeah.
I don't even like those flavors that they try to put in it. Like, that's the watermelon squirts or kiwi. I'm like, gross. Like, just put real fruits in your water.
I even like just like using my soda stream to make it more just fizzy, so I can
carbonated. I love sparkling water. That's my
sparkling water. And like I don't know. Like the only time I put flavor in it is if I do want something sweet. I use like the stevia droplets, and because now they have like root beer and cola, grape. Like it's really good, but I don't know.
Sounds fucking gross.
Oh my God. Anyway, next story. Because of
she's tired of
I'm going. I need to eat. I want my curry. Let's talk about this surge from the CV virus, the surge that hit new high last week in many places, including my county.
Surprise.
I think I got CV twice.
Let me tell you something though that I've been reading. In our area, oh my God, in our area, what's been happening is even though the government had okayed all these places opening, these bitches, I fucking can't stand them. If you're watching YouTube, you'll understand why. You can't hear them because they're silently doing this shit on the screen.
Quit being so mean.
I know, damn. You're only solidifying what we said earlier about
pretty much.
Anyway, No, so all these fucking restaurants and bars around us, not like a bunch, but several of them, their employees have been testing positive for the CV this week, right? So they are shutting their own stores down on their own account. These like store owners.
Well, that's a good thing because I swear so much shit is open. It's like we decided, well, it's warm outside, so coronavirus is over.
So
and
here's the thing. So if locally the owners are shutting down on their own accord, can you imagine what is happening right now with all these places opening and all the protests that happened and 50% capacity?
Nobody should be shocked by shit.
I mean, yeah, I know, but here's the thing. Here's my thing. Oh, I almost forgot. I need to add this in there. The whole Trump rally that's happening all over the place.
Oh, in Tulsa?
Well, they're rescheduling the Juneteenth one.
I know they are.
Because they got so much slack for it. I'm telling you, somebody's in the White House. Because Trump is not the one scheduling it, y'all. This is what I mean by he got people surrounding him doing this shit, too.
That's every president.
But if you go to one of these rallies, you have to sign a waiver that says if you catch the virus while at the rally, you can't sue the people who are in charge of the rally. If the government is telling you this, you should not be, you shouldn't be out of these rallies. I'm telling you.
Yeah, for real.
Like,
for real.
I don't understand what people don't understand. And it's hard for me because I work from a logical scientific mind, and like knowing how viruses spread and people just really ignoring it, like Brandy is right now with the Smashmallow bag on top of her forehead. I don't even know how she's balancing that right now, you guys.
It's how I balance your
she's like, yeah, on my forehead.
Demetrius, did you hear me?
What did you say?
I said it's how I balance her brother's dick on my forehead.
Oh my god! I need you to cut that part out, D, and send it to Dan. Yeah. I'm gonna send that portion to Dan.
Like what are those animals that do it on their nose? They balance the balls.
The seals.
Thank you. I almost called them seagulls. I was like, it starts with an S.
Oh my god, I can't.
I'm tired.
I can see it's coming down on you. The other thing is, let's get into the last couple of things real quick. So real quick, phone lines are down. Don't know what's happening. I hope by the time this is up, everything is working.
Fucking T-Mobile.
This is why D is on his phone this week.
This is why I'm on my phone.
His internet was acting up.
Cox cable is not working. T-Mobile is acting foolish.
T-Mobile, so yeah. Luckily, data for T-Mobile is working. So that's
but Rob had to call me from his Facebook fucking page.
Yeah,
Facebook thingy, because he was like, my phone's not working.
Yeah, so I can't make a phone call for shit. I have to use my work phone, which is still on. Thank you.
Which means, you guys, if you have important phone numbers and like map locations, like addresses, write it down somewhere and not just have
print
it on
off your
phone.
maps. So you know where the fuck you are.
Do they even make atlases anymore? Y'all remember?
They do. I was at Flying fucking J.
Yes, Flying J for the win.
Atlases.
Flying J. See, I was dogging them out.
I just, I think I told Rob today after he did that, I was like, I need you to write down the address to your job because I don't know where you work. It's been 7 years. I don't know where the fuck he works. Like,
I used to always print off like where I was going. Just in case, like, so I had one instance where my phone was going kind of haywire, and I'm like, you'd hate to be fucking lost because you're just depending on that.
Here's the thing, though. Now you can download the maps onto your phone, so you don't even need Wi-Fi for that. But what if
I still don't trust that.
Yeah, I know. Here's my thing. Here's my conspiracy part, right? What if they are able to hack into our phone and just turn them all off?
What do you mean? What if?
This is what I tell people a lot. I got into it not got into it, but me and one of my superiors at work had a debate.
No, you got into it. Keep it real.
Recently. And it was
Tell
like,
what you said.
She's all about, we should progress as a people and as a human race. Get it. I totally understand what you're saying. However, you cannot lose what you already know or where you came from. You can't forget where you came from. Right. Because when you do that, that's where dark ages come from.
Yeah.
We fell into the dark ages. The dark ages where you were so advanced, something happened to where all that advancement didn't mean shit anymore.
Crumbling
now
down.
Everybody doesn't even know how. So now you're back to basics. Now you have to start over from scratch.
Now
you have to learn how to make an almanac and all that shit when you should have held on to your almanacs so you can know when the best time to plant fucking corn so you can feed your fucking family.
Let's talk about that people don't even know how to like plant anything anymore, right? Because they just rely on sources being available.
Right. Oh yeah, that codependence is crazy.
of the conversation was to tell them, like, you need to learn how to do this. And luckily, I had grandparents that taught me shit like that.
That's
They
very
taught
important.
me, okay, there's a thing called an almanac. You need one for your region, because one almanac is not going to do it. You're going to need one for wherever you live.
Shit. Yep.
Right. And you're going to need to know how to forage where you live.
Boy,
you'd be surprised at the wild green onions that grow in the neighborhood near you.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
They look like and how to find them. Those aren't weeds. That's food.
You just have to be careful.
Are food.
Yep, dandelion tea is delicious. It's good for your body too.
Dandelion greens are just as good as collards if you cook them right.
Yep, and if you just have to know how to identify it so you don't like kill yourself.
So you don't kill yourself. Yeah, that's why you need the almanacs and there's a book. When I get the information on the name of this book, I'm going to make sure I provide it to you guys, the listeners and the viewers.
Yes.
Because it's important to know all of this information. They pretty much break down all of the foods that you can forage in your area, just in case something crazy happens. You can actually provide food for your family that grows wildly in your area. So, and it breaks it down all across North America. So
I will say this. If you guys, if people who are listening or watching can, I would suggest buying some seeds right now. Preferably organic if you can in your area, and just hold on to those for a little bit. Get some that will grow fast, like lettuce leafy things too, that can grow while you wait for the other longer taking vegetables and fruits to grow, because I think that's really important to have. And get you a book, not like or just print out some stuff on how to grow these things. Don't just have it around with the seed packets and shit, you know what I mean? And
also remember to grow with love, because plants and things feel stuff.
I started talking to some of my plants a while ago, and they have grown. They know love.
I'll never forget them talking about that experiment where they played like crazy music with crazy lyrics, and the plant died, and then the other plant flourished because of better music.
They know they do well when you give it love.
When they had that one plant that secreted some kind of fluid whenever they played the music of, or not the music, but they played the sounds of caterpillars that would eat the leaves. They secreted a fluid that would keep them away. So they understand. They know what's going on.
Yeah, they do.
We're going to have some happening shit like M. Night Shyamalan. These trees and shit going to get sick of us.
They going to get tired. Seymour.
So last few minutes, I kind of want to talk about, I know you said George Floyd's daughter is getting a lot of attention right now from celebrities. And
Kim Kardashian and Kanye. I say Kim first because Kanye be whatever, right? So Kim they tagged Kim to thank her because I guess they gave like $2 million towards her like education, or basically kind of securing whatever spot she wanted in college. And then Barbara Streisand helped make her a shareholder in Disney. Other celebrities are like A and C-list are doing things for the girl, and I just feel like it is beyond awesome, because you hear about stuff like this happening, but you don't really hear about.
She just froze. No, the really cable. About what, Brandy? About what? I'm sure she was going to say about the good stuff that happened to people, but Brandy just like died out. So I'm just going to finish her sentence. No, Brandy, come back. What is going on with the internets, man?
I don't know. It's fucking crazy.
Now we're going to have to ask her what her carrier is, because I'm curious. Because I know that T-Mobile and Cox is, because that's what we have, D. But
sorry, you guys froze. So I don't even know what happened.
You froze for us too. I don't know why.
Like this.
You were like.
Oh, that's perfect. CJ style.
But no, you were saying that it's not often that they don't get recognized, I guess, when they're
like deeds. Not to this level, because they'll do like a GoFundMe for the funeral a lot of times.
Right.
Or to help cover stuff like that. But after that, it's like some of these people, they do still need jobs. They do still need to go to college and what have you. So I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity for people that want to help, or philanthropy, anything, just to give, because she's innocent in this, and this is something horrible that happened to her. And just to see her seemingly be as happy as she is, which I'm pretty sure she's still devastated, but to see joy radiating off that girl on the times that she is recorded it's insane to me. That strength as a kid. I guess that's what they mean when they say kids are resilient, because baby, I would be laid the fuck out. Like I wouldn't know how to handle that as a wife or as a mother or anything like that, seeing my son die in that way. But I just thought that was really dope for some positive news with all this shit going on, that people are really doing that, especially when people can get money together to free fucking like George Zimmerman or whatever else the fuck. It's the least they can do.
Yeah, it is. Hate to end this on this last bit I want to talk about in the last 3 minutes is I don't know if you guys have read or seen anything about this, is the 2 hangings that happened recently in California.
One happened close to a girlfriend of mine.
So Robert L. Fuller was one of the guys who was hung in he was in a tree across from Palmdale City Hall.
Palmdale is where I lived right before I moved back to Vegas.
That's so crazy. And then the other one was
a family member in Victorville. So it's like, what the fuck?
It's so close
to home.
It's so scary. And then the other guy was Malcolm Harsh. I hope I'm saying his last name right. He was near a homeless encampment, and like some of the people who were there called his girlfriend and was like, "Yo, your dude is in the tree." Like, how horrendous and horrific this is. Like, so I posted about it on our podcast page. I don't know if you saw it. It's 2020, and we're still dealing with the same shit. Here's what got me. These 2 guys were hung 50 miles apart.
Yeah.
It's the same area, basically.
I don't even think it's 50. I think 50 is a lot.
I think they,
because I used to make that drive.
I know they said it was 50, but I mean, they might be estimating or maybe rounding up or down or whatever. But even if it was 200 miles apart, it's too much.
It's still intense,
it's
and
the
we know
same
the
area.
We know the
area.
reference, and there's just too much going on, especially right now, for me to look at stuff like a coincidence, especially because not that it doesn't mean they're not out there. I just don't remember hearing stories of people of color that are purposely killing themselves by hanging ourselves from trees. Because there's people like, well, hanging is one thing. Hanging myself by a tree with the historical reference that
I just don't see it.
It does not make any fucking sense. That doesn't make sense.
You know what I need to look up is the percentage of suicide in the Black community. I feel like it's lower than the white community. I know
it's higher in Black men than Black women, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you know why it's higher in men? It's in every race. Do you know why? Men always complete it. That's why. They always use a weapon for the most part. And that's why it's higher in men because of that. It doesn't matter what race it is. It's typically higher in men all across the board.
I watched a video and some guy was like, "Oh, I don't think you guys should automatically try to say it's a race thing. Maybe these guys have just had enough based off of what the media is leading to believe." He said the media is leading these guys to believe that, okay, number one, there's a pandemic, so that's already fucking up their jobs and their careers.
I get
then
it.
You got the media telling them that you're worthless, you're not shit, and you think you're convincing these people that the world hates them because they're Black. And I'm like, well, that's kind of how it is.
I'm like, that doesn't take much convincing, darling. And like, that's not a hard sell.
And also,
it's not a hard sell at all. And but the only thing is, it's the method in which it was done. He brought that up. He was like, oh, so what? Just because he's like, I don't understand why someone can justify stating that based off of their ethnicity, that it doesn't make sense for them to kill themselves. And he brought up an example, and he was like, what? So Japanese people just go out into the forest and fucking stab a fucking samurai sword through themselves, like, and impale themselves? I was like, well, that happened. And that was a common form of suicide within that ethnic group.
It was.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And wasn't that like honorable?
It was honorable.
Back in the day. That's why there's kamikaze men in the world wars who would get into a plane that would it's a plane that was a bomb, basically. The plane was the bomb. That's why it drives me crazy when I go to the bar and people are like, let's take some kamikaze shots. I'm like, no. You gotta change the name.
But it's like, he was trying to make that point, like, oh, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, what you said made perfect fucking sense. Now, if you told me a Japanese dude did some other shit, I'd say, nah, he probably didn't do that back in that time when that was in. I forgot what the term is when they would do that.
Harakiri.
Harakiri? Yeah. So harakiri, during harakiri time.
Harakiri or seppuku, there are two different terms.
Seppuku is what I remember. So, so it's like, if they weren't doing that and they did it another way, I would say, okay, that doesn't make sense. But if they did it in the harakiri way, then I'd say, yeah, that makes sense. So we can draw that same conclusion within our own society, saying that doesn't look right. Maybe this will look right if he maybe shot himself or took pills or something. But to hang yourself, that is so.
Here's my other thing. Like, I'm wondering,
hanging, it's like, come on.
I'm wondering if there were
from a tree, though.
But that's what I'm saying. Were there ladders? Were there chairs? Were there anything where they could actually get up on that tree at the place that they were at? Because none of this information is available right now, I don't think.
Right.
And I couldn't find anything on it. So you're telling me that this person, these two guys, brought something, and especially the one from across Palmdale City Hall. You're gonna tell me a black dude with a ladder didn't get stopped by cops in front of the city hall in this fucking climate?
If I'm not mistaken, where Palmdale City Hall is low, where is Palmdale? I want to say it's off of 10th Street. Let me see.
Maybe, but like what I'm saying is, you telling me a black dude in the middle of the night, because he was found at like 7 a.m. or something.
I don't think that area is very residential. I have to double check.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the city hall, though, cops would be everywhere near that. Like, somebody, listen.
Palmdale, maybe not necessarily, but the fact that it's not residential would lead me to believe that somebody placed him there to try to prove a point.
Well, especially when it's across the street from City Hall.
I definitely feel like this is about statements right now.
Of course.
For sure.
Of course.
And that doesn't mean these people couldn't have killed themselves, but the placement of the body bothers me. They could have been dead before they even got there. We don't have all the information on that.
But
that's something that can easily happen.
And because the information is so far and few, it's just like, I'm gonna wrap it up, but it's like the girl who got tear gassed, who died. Do you remember that story? There's a white girl who got tear gassed.
She died?
She died from it because they were saying she had asthma, and that tear gas fucked with her asthma. So it turns out she didn't have asthma. Turns out they tear gassed her so hard into her face so long that her lungs basically couldn't take it, and she died from the tear gas. They lied on that report initially. That's what I'm saying. So now I need all these people who were talking about all lives matter to get their shit together and ask themselves, if all lives matter, why the fuck aren't they as upset as we are? Because now they're just killing other people as well. Now it's happening to everyone. If this isn't a wake-up call, I don't know what is. I really don't.
8th Street.
See,
so close to 10th. 8th Street. So it's that area is not very residential. Mm-hmm. Not really, no.
Well,
from what I remember.
I just hope, if anybody's listening to this, I just hope you guys take mental health breaks from social media and mass media so that you're not overwhelmed.
I'm still off.
It's very important. There's days where I absolutely, like Sunday, I absolutely stayed off of social media 100%. I just could not care because I was like, I need a day of just nothing. I didn't even post on Sunday. I don't think anybody posted on Sunday because we were just like, fuck it. But you know what? I understand. I think it's a lot more overbearing to us than anything to anyway, because it's absolutely about our lives. It's absolutely about the people we care about and people who look like us. So it bears a whole nother weight. I feel like meaning and weight, and and it's hard. And I'm constantly explaining to people why.
That's what's
always having
exhausting.
To explain.
Yeah.
And
it's like people already are fighting all the time, let alone having to explain.
I'm trying. I'm really trying not to let that be the end of me, because if you don't explain, these people are not going to understand it, and then you it's hard to care but still care for yourself mentally. That's why you got to take breaks. Take breaks,
vacations.
Make quiche, make banana bread. I don't know, do something that's fun for you. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this shit up because there's a lot more that we got to go do. If you have enjoyed our podcast thus far, please make sure to subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button and comment on it. Hit that notification bell so you get our episodes every Monday at 9 a.m. Central. If you're into us, check out our regular episodes that drop every Thursday at noon Central as well. Any last words before we go? We good? Huh?
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
Lovely.
All
Get some sleep.
Yeah, so on that note, stay woke, stay blessed, logical, safe, and if you're black, stay black. If you're not, what the fuck, Brady? I'm sorry.
I'm sleeping.
She's sleeping. If you're not, support POCs and allies unite.
Yes.
Peace out, guys.
Peace
Bye.
Bye.